Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to CCN. Well, when the announcement was first made that Freeland was the new finance minister, that really concerned me. She doesn't have a very good track record in politics to begin with, and she has zero record of financial background. And she's going to be running the finances of the country? Well, not only that, the first thing she said was, our new budget is going to be green. Well, that's a big concern. Now, where is she going to get this help to put this budget together? Because she's not doing it herself, obviously. Now, I would say even the people that were working with Morneau were not really working on a green budget. So where are they going to get their information from? Well, this is where I think our new budget is going to be shaped and formed from. Website behind the numbers. January 6, 2020, says the 2020s will be the decade of the Green New Deal. The idea of a Green New Deal, a radical and comprehensive transformation of the economy to cut greenhouse gas emissions while tackling inequality, has been gaining steam over the past few decades as an organizing principle for the environmental and social justice movements. But it wasn't until 2019 that the GND exploded into the mainstream. Democrats in the U.S. Congress brought the idea to widespread public attention when they introduced a resolution on a Green New Deal in February. Although it failed to become law, the resolution galvanized activists around the world and provided a blueprint for ambitious legislative action. In Canada, the Pact for a Green New Deal, a large and growing citizens movement, brought together thousands of Canadians at more than 150 town halls across the country to explore a Green New Deal for Canada. Recommendations and next steps are expected in 2020. Most recently, Peter Julian of the Federal New Democratic Party introduced a Green New Deal motion in Parliament. It is a concise and transformative legislative framework for a sustainable and inclusive Canadian economy. The private member's bill will be debated this year. I don't think there's going to be any debate. I think that's going to be the budget. What does a Green New Deal look like? Different advocates have advanced different visions using the term, but the general principles are clear. We face a climate crisis that requires rapid, global decarbonization, chiefly through the replacement of fossil fuels by cleaner energy sources. I'm assuming they're talking windmills and solar panels. We face an inequality crisis that requires massive redistribution of not only income and wealth, but also political power away from the entrenched capitalist elite towards citizens and marginalized communities. Sounds like a Marxist communist doctrine. We remain in a state of, colonial oppression. That requires genuine reconciliation with Indigenous peoples grounded in the sovereignty of Indigenous nations, and we require a hopeful, inspirational vision for the future that includes good jobs, vibrant communities, and widespread social and economic well-being. Nirvana. The details matter, of course, and there are many questions that GND advocates have yet to think through or agree on. For example, how can we produce enough electricity to rapidly replace all fossil fuels if we preclude new large-scale hydro and nuclear projects in our communities? Where will we mine the environmentally harmful resources necessary to produce lower emissions technologies? Will new green jobs be good, unionized jobs that are accessible in the places where jobs are needed the most? I'm sure the child labor over in India and the other African countries where they're mining all the material for their solar panels would be very happy if they're unionized and got a nice wage. Can't see that happening. Furthermore, how will we pay for it all? Although inaction will be more expensive in the long term, the price tag of any Green New Deal in the short term is in the trillions of dollars for Canada alone. Even with unprecedented public spending, governments do not currently have the capacity to fund this transition in full, which means private capital needs to be incentivized or coerced into action. To be clear, well, first of all, the companies will pull out of Canada. They'll head south. To be clear, these aren't impossible questions or excuses for inaction. GND advocates have laid out a number of workable answers, including many featured in the CCPA's alternative federal budget. For example, cracking down on tax havens, tax loopholes, and fossil fuel subsidies alone could fund a transformative social and environmental agenda in Canada. Public banks increased carbon taxation, green bonds, and steeper deficit financing are other options for accelerating the transition. But every policy has trade-offs, and we have yet to see the movement for a Green New Deal tackle those compromises head-on. It is crucial that advocates work through the pragmatic realities of a social and economic transformation on this scale, from the disruptions to workers to the logistics for suburban commuters to the concentration of wealth in the hands of clean energy investors. Providing a transformative vision for the future that both acknowledges and challenges current political and economic conditions is especially important as the political salience of the Green New Deal grows. As the climate crisis deepens and the demand for alternatives swells, we can only expect the GND to attract more and more serious attention in the coming years. Advocates need a clear and practical agenda to make the most of this opportunity. These criticisms aside, the Green New Deal is one of the most promising alternatives we have for our country and for our planet. If the 2010s were the decade where we finally took the crisis of climate change and inequality seriously, the 2020s will hopefully be the decade where we get serious about the solutions. If and when we do, it is in all of our best interest to help make the Green New Deal a reality. So I may be wrong, or I may be right, but I looked at other countries around the world and their so-called green projects. Germany, $36 billion a year on wind turbines. That was canceled because it's not feasible. They went back to coal. They actually demolished a centuries-old church to get out the coal underneath. Ukraine, wind and solar farms. They may reach $760 to $800 million deficit in 2020. So there's going to be tariffs on imported energy, which is a higher cost, which is passed on to the consumers to pay for their wind and solar projects. Japan, solar farms cost $3.5 billion annually to import coal and gas to generate power after Fukushima disaster. Less than 1/5 of the projects were fit for subsidies to supply power to the grid. 12 nations in Europe failed to install a single turbine. The UK shut wind power expansion down. Kuwait shut progress down on their solar, and they found gas and oil is more feasible because they've got all kinds of gas and oil. $200 billion solar project in Saudi Arabia failed because of the cost. Medicine Hat, Alberta solar plant closed due to the cost. Normandy, France, the solar road only produced 1/2 of what was expected, and the engineering issues resulted in 100 miles of the road falling into disrepair. India shut down multiple solar projects due to the cost. Norway canceled onshore wind projects due to protests. There is now an anti-wind farm activist movement in Europe. They don't want the bird killers there either. So this is going to be another disaster brought on by the government of Canada, the Liberal government. We're going to pay for it, sinking us deeper and deeper in debt. I've seen where it could be up to $1 trillion to switch the grid over to solar and wind. Well, thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, share, comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye for now. God bless.